Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. You are watching Talking College Football with Luke, featuring analyst Dan Pedraza. Thank you, Dan, and analyst Anwar Thornton. Well, it was a fantastic weekend of college football, full of surprises and a lot of unexpected victories. So we got a lot to talk about today. Let's First off, I'm going to introduce you a little bit and let Dan tell you a little bit about his background, what his plans are. We know he went to U of I and he's a big Notre Dame fan, but Dan, why don't you give us a little bit about your background?
Yeah. So I went to Illinois, like you said, as a pre-med student. I got my bachelor's in integrative biology over there. Then I went to Georgetown for a 1-year special master's program in physiology. So after leaving Georgetown, after that 1-year program, I came back to work as a medical assistant, get some more medical experience in the Chicago suburbs, and then now I'm working as an EMT in the city in Chicago, mainly on the south and west side, and currently sending out med school applications. So waiting to hear back from some schools and still sending out some applications for other schools. So hopefully I'll be doing this from a med school next year.
All right. Well, welcome aboard, Dr. Pedraza.
Future.
Uh, all right. And this week we have a special video supplied to us by Healthy Living from Dr. Renee the Barber. Let's take a quick look. And last week's was really delicious. I didn't get a chance to try it, but let's see what this one's all about.
We are making that famous chopped sub sandwich that is so popular on TikTok. Hey, you've probably already seen it, but 3 different people have shared this recipe with me, so I decided I'd give it a jab. All right, so let's get into it. First, we're going to chop that lettuce, throw in your thinly sliced ham, salami, and pepperoni. Toss your onions and tomatoes and banana peppers on top, salt and pepper to taste, and now we're ready for what? Yes, the first chop. All right, let's take that flavor to the next level. Hit it with your mayo, red wine vinegar, and oh yeah, I only had white wine vinegar in the house, but it was equally as good. Now go ahead and hit a dash of Italian dressing and sprinkle with Italian seasoning and chop. Now deliver with your provolone cheese, yep, and chop. Now portion out for your bread bun or your roll. Scoop all that goodness up, wrap it in parchment paper, and serve. And enjoy. Like, share, comment, and follow. See you next video. Have a wonderful day.
Wow. You know what? I think that our fans are going to really like what we're putting in there as far as these recipes are concerned.
Yeah,
So
I think this
anyway,
one's way better.
yeah, it's hard to believe that she could top last week's.
Yeah.
So anyway, Dan, hey, let's get right into it. We're going to start off by talking about Iowa State and Cincinnati. That was one of the big upsets last week. I was the one big on board for Iowa State, thinking that they could win the Big 12 and possibly be the representative to make the playoff. Any thoughts or any feedbacks you want to share, or do you want me just to talk about that game?
Yeah. Well, I also had thought Iowa State was going to be that representative. I had them ranked last year in my voting, in our top 12. But Big 12 is chaos. I'll let you take care of the rest of that game breakdown.
Well, I think it all starts with quarterback Brendan Sorsby. He had a 3 touchdown performance. And their defense came up with timely snaps. The football team jumped out to that 31-7 lead and held on for a 38-30 victory. It was a sold-out crowd there at Nippert, so that was kind of different for them. And this victory, it marked the highest-ranked win over an opponent in Nippert Stadium since Cincinnati beat Rutgers 30-11 back in 2006. And guess who returned? Remember we talked about Dante Corleone was returned this week. So I want to keep a good eye out on that kid. And let's keep on going. And for you Buckeye fans, Evan Pryor, who left the Buckeyes, but he played behind Trey Henderson, ran for 111 yards on 10 carries. So we'll be keeping our eyes out on you guys, Bearcats. All right, Dan, let's go ahead and let's talk about the next game on our schedule. I'll let you go ahead and take the lead on this one. What do you think about Penn State, UCLA?
Man, I don't think anybody saw this coming. Even there's been a lot of talk about Penn State not showing up in big games, but nobody thought they wouldn't show up in the small games. Just amazing result for UCLA. They just came out of nowhere. Nobody expected UCLA to even do anything. People were saying they weren't going to win a single game this year, let alone against a top 10 team like that.
Well, it's interesting how everybody, especially those people in Tennessee, we're throwing Nico Ilamuleva under the bus. But gosh, we saw a 5-star quarterback performance. I mean, what he's doing is he took his team and led them to the promised land. Let me see. I got a few notes I want to share with you on that game. So let me find them here. I was watching that game, and we all went in thinking that this was going to be Penn State's year. And yes, that game, that whiteout game the previous week at Oregon, and Oregon came to town, that probably hurt them. That's probably what led to this loss. You always say don't want one loss turn into two. Well, that's what happened. So when Penn State plays at Ohio State, man, they are going to be playing like a team with its hair on fire. They're going to be all in, and they're saying our only chance now is we got to beat the Buckeyes. Dan, can you check their schedule real quick? See, do they have Indiana coming up as well?
I believe they do. I'm checking that right now, actually. So I know they have one more really tough game besides Ohio State. Here it is. Yeah, Ohio State and Indiana back-to-back weeks.
Whoa, who else they have in there? There's another tough one in there. Is it
Iowa.
Rutgers? I mean, Nebraska?
Nebraska and Iowa.
Whoa. So their backs are against the wall.
Yeah.
They have no wiggle room whatsoever if they want to make the playoff, right?
Yeah, they're gonna have to at least win one of those games between Ohio State and Indiana, maybe both if they want to even make the playoff.
I don't, because of the loss to UCLA, Dan. I see it that they got to win all of their games. They have to win out.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. They have no wiggle room, and especially if they were to lose. Those are the two highest ranked teams that they're going to play. Maybe Nebraska gets in there at the end of the year. Depends. I don't. It's going to, the way it's setting up. You never know right now what this top 12 is going to be like. There's going to be some movement along.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking ahead. Like you're going to see. Like I think you're right. They will have to win both games because you're going to see them possibly being matched up against Notre Dame in the rankings. See who win if they're both 10-2. Who's going to get that spot? Notre Dame losses to two good teams, and then Penn State against one good team and one team that nobody expected to be good.
Oh yeah. So let's move on down the line. Florida, Texas. Did you see that one coming?
No, I mean, I knew Texas wasn't as strong as everybody thought before the season, but that's another upset. Not a lot of people saw that coming. But man, Florida, everybody was kind of calling for Billy Napier's head. They were saying that Florida's season was over, but if you look at it, they have a chance to get back into it. I don't think they will, but the season's not as over as people thought. That's why you play the games. DJ Lagway showed why he was an early Heisman candidate. So we'll have to see if that keeps going, if he can keep that up. They had a nice debut from their freshman wide receiver, Wilson, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. So maybe that connection could help propel them in the future. But yeah, I mean, on the Texas side, they gave up 6 sacks. Especially at the end of the game, you could see that Arch Manning was kind of doing what he could, but maybe doing too much, running around. His helmet came off near the end of the game, kind of took him out of the game, didn't let him finish the comeback. But I don't know. Their run game wasn't great either for Texas. Arch Manning was the lead rusher, and that's not a great sign when, your quarterback is the lead rusher with 37 rush yards.
Yeah, all that preseason hype with them being number one and all the buzz about all the talent they had on both sides of the ball. And then the excitement surrounding Arch Manning, all that it's now in the rearview mirror. I mean, but to lose 29-21 to a 1-3 Florida team, like you said, with Napier on the ropes. The Longhorns championship is aspirations. They're on life support right now. Initially, when they lost to Ohio State, people thought that losing to the Buckeyes was not that bad. It was a battle of two great teams. But since then, Manning has looked like an average quarterback. The offensive line that they had has struggled to block. Now we understand it was a rebuild offensive line. Their strength was supposed to be in the defense, but where's the defense? You know, uh, they don't seem. Can you believe this? We're saying this about Texas, that they don't have electrifying weapons. Now, the other thing, you mentioned how well Lagway played, but we also saw their star receiver, Dallas Wilson, playing for his first game. And I think that made a big difference on their side. And then what you said earlier about Napier, I mean, maybe he's going to save his job and pull a Billy Napier like he did last year. So we'll see. Um, we'll see if Texas is like, they're like Penn State. They're on life support.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
you can't lose another game. And guess who they got coming up this week, which we're going to talk about shortly. They've got Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. Oklahoma without John Mateer, but pretty good anyway.
Still got that Oklahoma defense, so we'll see.
Yeah. I know you had a vested interest in this one. Let's talk about Miami FSU.
Yeah, that got me a little scared at the end. Cheering for Notre Dame, I want Miami to get as many wins as they can, kind of make that loss look good for us. But in the end, it worked out for Miami and for Notre Dame. But I'll focus on Miami and Florida State since they're the ones who played the game. But yeah, Miami jumped out to that huge lead, 28-3. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, it was still 28-3. And then Florida State had some magic at the end, came up short with 19 points in the fourth quarter. They had to rely on some onside kicks at the end, but they weren't able to recover. But Miami's just showing why they've been rising in the rankings and kind of showing why they belong near the top of those rankings. Florida State's a good team. Their record may not show it that they're 3-2, but those two losses came to two good teams. I mean, if you look at Miami's box score, Carson Beck with 4 touchdown passes, Malachi Toney 107 receiving yards, 2 of those touchdown receptions. But one of Miami's strengths is that they converted on their turnovers. They had 2 interceptions that they converted to touchdowns. They also had a fumble recovery. Just solid game overall. The Miami defense, they held Florida State to 3.5 yards per carry rushing, which is significantly lower than Florida State's had in previous games. So, I mean, Miami's just a good team all around. You'd see them threatening for the top spot in a lot of different rankings.
Yeah, they got the big win over Notre Dame, FSU. We're going to see. Here's my takeaway is the fact that Miami stopped Florida State on 7 straight drives that led to 4 punts and 3 turnovers. The Seminoles were held to a season low 22 points. Now, they had 230 rushing yards in the previous 4 games, but were held to 132 yards or 3.5 yards a carry against Miami. So, I mean, that's the story right there. Well, let's talk about Mr. Pavia and the Admirals. So Vandy going down to Roll Tide Bama. Oh, is Bama's back, right? Or did Bama never really leave? You want to go ahead and give us your thoughts?
I mean, it seems like they're back. I think that they needed that Florida State loss early in the season. I think that may have set them straight because they've looked better than they did that game since then. And they must have heard a lot of people taking shots at them on the media and even in person, telling them this isn't the same Alabama team with Nick Saban. And even now, I saw Diego Pavia. He was practicing taking knees before the game started on Saturday. So I'm sure some of those Alabama players took that personally.
Yeah, and then you had Johnny Manziel on the sideline with a Pavia shirt on, and let's be honest. I mean, that was a tough game. First off, it wasn't like Bama blew them out. that last touchdown was garbage, but that was a tough game. I think Vandy is for real, but we definitely know that Alabama is for real and that they are going to be, I mean, for all intents and purposes, can you pull up their schedule? Do they have Tennessee on their schedule?
For Vanderbilt?
No, pull up Bama schedule. Can you do that? Let's see
Sure.
who they got.
Let's
I think
see.
they have some runway room.
Yeah. Yeah, they have Tennessee on October 18th, so that'll be next week.
Oh, that is going to be a big game for both of those teams. They're going to look at two desperate teams. Then at the end of the year, they always have Auburn, and as we know, just like with Notre Dame, Southern Cal, Ohio State, Michigan, Auburn, Alabama, schedules don't really. I mean, your winning percentage doesn't really matter. Those are rivalry games. We're going to find that out this week with Texas, Oklahoma. Um, you know, you want to beat your rival, so records don't count.
Yep.
All right. So as exciting as last week's schedule was, I mean, those were some great games. Let's look ahead. Okay. These are the games we're going to look ahead at, Dan. I just want to cover them with you real quick before we make a comment. We're going to talk about Indiana, Oregon, Oklahoma, Texas, Bama, Mizzou. We're going to do a cursory on USF, North Texas. And obviously, between me and you and Anwar, we got the big one. So that's Illinois, Ohio State. Let's start off with Indiana, Oregon. These are just looking ahead thoughts. Where are you at on this?
I don't know. I was looking a little bit of some previews in the spread. I'm not really a bettor, so it doesn't matter much to me, but it's just interesting to see how Vegas thinks the game will go. But I don't know. I think it's going to be close. This Indiana team, I saw it firsthand with Illinois getting thumped by them. They're tough. They're tough. I think they're ready to show they belong in that upper tier of Big Ten teams. Oregon, they won the Big Ten last year, and they've showed this year that they belong at the top too. So it'll be a tough game. We'll see or Indiana's best win came against Illinois, and as much as I think they're good, we don't know how strong that win was yet. We're gonna have to see that later this weekend.
Yeah, everything you said I agree with, but here's what so let me ask you this. Who wins?
I think Oregon wins.
I agree with you. Now I think it's going to be tight. I think that Mendoza and Indiana are going to play extremely well, but I think that the defense and the fact that Oregon's coming off of bye week makes the difference. And playing in Autzen with that crazy crowd out there, I'm going to say Oregon by less than a field goal. There you are. We're not a gambling show.
Yeah, I was thinking around 4 points, so we're right around the same area.
Okay. Let's go ahead and let's talk about Alabama, Texas. We just said that Texas is in survivor mode. What are your thoughts?
Let's see. Alabama, Texas isn't Oklahoma.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the screen and it does say Texas, Oklahoma,
Yeah,
Red River rivalry. I'm sorry to get carried away.
Yeah, Oklahoma, Texas, Red River shootout, Red River rivalry.
Yeah.
We'll see. Like you said with those rivalry games, doesn't really matter the record going into it. You got to win your rivalry game. No John Mateer, but Oklahoma may have one of the best defenses in the nation. So, we'll see if the Texas O-line can hold up against that rush their front line in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I was the backup quarterback for Oklahoma. I gotta tell you, he didn't look bad last week, right? I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Oklahoma wins, and that They really have not lost a step this year because I agree with what you said about their defense. Um, and that when Mateer does come back, I think it's 2 games from now from that broken hand, they go on to play in the in the SEC championship game to see who represents them, the SEC in playoffs. But I think they are also a playoff team. I think Texas is toast. Like to punt Texas toast, get the joke? Texas is toast at the end of, this game.
Yeah. I'm just pulling up Oklahoma's schedule, so see who else
Okay.
they've got. Wow, yeah, they got a tough schedule coming up too. After Texas, they have South Carolina, but then Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Mizzou, and LSU. So they're ending it strong. Tough way to end your season. But they'll have Mateer back for most of those, so we'll see
Yeah,
how they go.
and a rejuvenated Mateer because, had he had to take the schedule we talked about it, I think, in week 2 after they played Michigan and their style of football, he couldn't have survived all these games. By him being out, his body will have healed and rested from those early season hits to be able to take these last few season hits, and I think that'll make a big difference. Did you choose a winner? I'm sorry.
For Texas, Oklahoma, I think
Yeah.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about Bama Mizzou. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I think that Mizzou is one of the least talked about teams there is. Drinkowitz, I've watched them twice. They're a really good football team. Uh, I think that they should be a top 12 team when they play Alabama. We'll see when we look at our poll, when we release our poll, if they made it or not. Herbola, the quarterback there, I think can make the difference. And where are they playing that game? Is that at Mizzou or is that at Alabama? I think
That's
it's
at
at
Mizzou.
Mizzou.
Yeah, at Mizzou.
I'm gonna go out on a limb right now. I'm not gonna hold any suspense because we're running out of time. I'm taking Alabama. I'm taking Mizzou.
I wish I could disagree with you so we could have a little argument about it, but I think Mizzou too. I think they're going to show that they're one of those top teams in the SEC.
So you brought up. Let's look at. There's one undefeated group of 6 that we haven't talked much about. They got a tough game, a tough sneaky game coming up, and that's South Florida versus North Texas. I North Texas is I'm looking at our poll. They are on the outside, just on the outside, but they look like they might have a little something this year. What are your thoughts? Who you got? I'm going to go North Texas because this is going to mean everything in the world to them this year. For this particular year. Where are you at on that game?
I think South Florida is going to win. We saw them play against Miami and Florida. But I don't know. You never know, especially with the group of 5. But, I mean, South Florida, they're the team that's not undefeated in this matchup, but they're ranked number 24 in the AP polls. 2 strong teams going against each other. It could have a strong effect on the final playoff rankings.
Yeah, and we know that there's never a flaw in the AP poll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Let's get to the big one that we look at as the biggest game. ILL against OHIO.
Oh, yeah. I. Let's go.
All right, I'll let you start. Or do you want me to go first, or where are you at?
I'll say a little bit. Well, I mean, this is probably the most this game has meant since 2006. Especially since I've been watching Illinois football, this is the first time it's actually been a contest. Well, I don't even know if you could say that, but it's the first time it's actually meant anything for either team since before me and Anwar became friends. But I don't know. It's gonna be a tough game. It's in Champaign. I wish I could make it, but those tickets are going for a lot of money right now. So we'll see. What do you think about the game?
I was going to go to the game myself. I mean, I live in Chicago, so but here's the problem with like they do that quirky thing with getting tickets to go down there. You can't just buy one; you end up buying the season, all that stuff. I didn't want to do all that, and they do that so that out-of-state teams and then they do that dynamic pricing thing for certain games, and this is one of those games. Listen, I'm gonna take you back to when Bielema was at Wisconsin and how, man, they always played the Buckeyes so tough. There's no reason for me to believe that this is not going to be a knockdown, drag out, old fashioned Big Ten slobber knocker. Um, I think that an underrated quarterback coming into this, both quarterbacks are underrated. Altmaier, I think, is he's got to be like one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the country. Certainly, he's one of the most experienced quarterbacks in the country. I think Sand is underrated, but here's what I've seen. Defense, no matter what level, high school, college, pro, semi-pro, doesn't matter. Defense travels. The Buckeyes bring that great defense. And then on top of that, okay, let's just say that Illinois shuts down the run game and they make a commitment to shut down the run game. All right, what do you do about the receivers? That means you're not getting to the receivers. They're open. And Illinois' defense, yes, I understand some of their key players are back, but their defensive backfield has been suspect all year long. Mm-hmm. Secondly, all right, so say they make the commitment to shut down the passing game. Buckeyes run the trio, man, of People, Jackson, and Donaldson. They'll do yeoman's work and they'll run all over them. Couple that with this offensive line that the Buckeyes have put together, which is, I can't believe I'm saying this, they're better than last year's offensive line, and their rotation is a lot heavier. And one more thing, the special teams, if it comes into play, I think Ohio State has an edge there with their kickers and with the return game on both kickoffs as well as on punt returns. They have come close a couple times to breaking it on the punt returns for touchdowns. Dan, I know it's going to be a Big Ten game. I'm moving the Indiana equation out of my figuring. And the reason being is I'm going to say that, legitimately, the defensive backfield was decimated when they played against Indiana, and they just went over top on them. I think it's a solid win for the Buckeyes. I don't know what the line is. I don't look at lines when we're for this show, but I can see the Buckeyes winning by 2 touchdowns down in Champaign.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with you. I think that, it won't be that beatdown that we saw against Indiana from Illinois, but it's not necessarily going to be a close game. But I think even a 2-touchdown loss by Illinois would that'd be a huge improvement compared to previous years. We'll see. The biggest thing that I'm worried about is the offensive line for Illinois. That was one of the biggest problems against Indiana in the Indiana game. You already mentioned the secondary for Illinois just getting exposed by Indiana, even though they had a lot of people out, people suspended, people injured. Yeah, Luke Altmaier had no time to throw against Indiana, and I'm worried that that's going to happen against possibly an even better team with Ohio State. He's a great quarterback. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten and even a top 10 quarterback in the nation, but he can't do much if he's constantly running for his life. So we'll see. And one thing I did disagree with you on, I think Illinois has a really strong special teams also. You looked at their kicker, Olano, has been nails this year. Hank Beatty has been insane, both as a receiver and a punt returner. He scored a touchdown, and that's a guy who scored a passing, receiving, and a returning touchdown so far this year. Also rushing, so that's 4. He just needs a defensive touchdown somehow. But yeah, like you said, I think that it will be an Ohio State win, especially if they're able to test that Illinois secondary and keep the pressure on the offensive line.
Okay. Well, that's going to be an exciting game. Is that big noon kickoff or is that
Yeah. Yep.
It's big noon kickoff?
Yep. Good games.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dan, it's that time. Let's talk about the our top 12. Okay.
Ready to go?
And so you can see it here, starting from the bottom. And we got Tennessee at number 12, Missouri at 11, Georgia 10, Texas Tech is 9, Alabama's 8, Oklahoma 7, and then we get into the Big Six. Now, this is probably where the next three come into play. Texas A&M at 6, Indiana at 5, Ole Miss at 4, and a lot of people across the country have these three teams at either 1, 2, or 3, and just like last week, there's still no argument on these top three teams if they were number 1, 2, or 3. But if for sakes of our poll that we do, and it was Oregon at 3, Miami at 2, and Ohio State at. Let's get your feedback. You're the analyst. You tell me, does anything glaring, anything missed? What are your thoughts?
Let's see. I'm looking at the rankings right now. For the most part, it's good. I would have had Georgia Tech in there instead of Tennessee at number 12. I think being undefeated, I think they deserve to be in there right now. Other than that, I was one of the people who put Miami at number 1 over Ohio State. If you just look at their wins, Miami just has some better wins than Ohio State. Ohio State's really only good win is against Texas, and we saw Texas's.
Well,
I mean,
can
their
I
best.
interrupt?
What's that?
Washington has 1 loss.
That's true. That's true.
Minnesota only had 1 loss. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I mean, but their marquee win that everybody kind of saw for the season so far was Texas, and now we see what happened with Texas this past week. I still think they're a great team, and they could be better than Miami, but I just think that their resume is better right now for Miami.
So I think that's one of the things that we make as fans, and we are fans, right? We go with brand names. So Washington sitting at 4-1 is not a brand name, even though just 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they were in the championship with DeBoer, before he went to Alabama. So PJ Fleck has a solid team. I mean, coming down there. So yeah, they don't. Do they have the brand name FSU or Notre Dame? No. So there you have it. I mean, we've done the show today. I feel good about the show. I feel good about our top 3. Our voters have been really consistent. We recognize good teams. One of the comments from one of the voters was picking that 4 through 9 slot, man, that is really, really difficult. The one thing that kind of jumps out is, wow, what happens with this group of the group of 6? Who's going to get in there? Because you got to look at our 12. Somebody from the Big Ten is going to be there. Somebody from the ACC, Big 12, and SEC. Which of those 4 are in? So then, of the ones that if we just looked at this right now, who's at risk? I would say Texas Tech. Just looking at being in a number 9 spot, they're solid, right?
Yeah.
Ohio State or Oregon, Indiana, any one of them could win the Big Ten. Miami, you have to say they're a lock. I don't see anybody else in here from the ACC. And Ole Miss still has a pretty tough schedule. So is it Ole Miss, Alabama, or Georgia, or Missouri, or Tennessee? We don't know which one of those are going to win the SEC.
Yeah.
Oh, if I'm looking at a weak spot, I forgot Oklahoma's probably part of that too. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Texas A&M this year wins the SEC. I can't believe I'm saying that.
I hope so.
Then
I hope so. Yeah. SEC and Big 12. anybody could win those conferences. At least a few of their top teams. They're
No,
not as
I'm thinking the SEC is the league that loses one of their teams to a group of 6, and then we're going to hear them screaming and making noise all over again, just like they did last year. Anyway, hey, I want to thank you for watching the show. The show is up every Thursday at 10 a.m. on our YouTube channel, Talking College Football with Luke, with analyst Dan Pedraza and Anwar Thornton. And I think we're going to have a guest next week. I'm just looking at the precursor for next week's show. We might have a guest speaker. So we'll let you know throughout the week. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us. And, also hit that little bell so that you get notified every time we press the, we put some information out. This has been a great show. For Dan and Anwar, this is Luke. Till next week. We'll
all
talk to you
right.
later.
ILL. That was good.